Hey folks, and welcome to another installment of Dave's Impressions. This time around, Quantum Break. These impressions were taken from playing the game for around 1 hour and 30 minutes. Enjoy! Quantum Break is a television show that is also a game. Not a game wanting to be a television show. This distinction is important. I spent the first hour playing the first act of the game, and then I watched an episode of Bad TV for the last 30 minutes. During this episode, there's an action scene in which the head of security has been turned on by the corporation he works for and is escaping the building. There's hand-to-hand combat, a shootout, and a car chase. It may be that I didn't like how the scene was directed, and it may be because I didn't care about the character, but through it all, I thought to myself, gee, I would love to play this. Now I know why I couldn't. The game itself revolves around use of Jack Joyce's time powers. To play any action scene that didn't utilize these time powers would be another game. A game we've seen a million times before. A third-person cover shooter. With the time powers, the action scenes that you play always end in one of two ways. Either overwhelmed by flanking enemies in their fire, dying and having to start again, or cycling through all the time powers one after another, clearing out an entire room of soldiers in a literal instant and feeling like a badass. There was no middle ground. And there's this great section where you get to briefly play as the antagonist Paul and instigate a Life is Strange choice. You know, where you can view the consequences of each side before choosing one. Not only is it neat to see the scope of the choice on offer, and I imagine it affects the episode of television being watched, but Paul is the only part of the whole narrative I found interesting. He obviously has seen what's coming and has spent a lot of time preparing for it, trying to save as many people as he can. As the player learns more through playing Jack, I hope it keeps this sense that both sides are doing what they feel is right, and if defeated at the end, the player ends up feeling sorry for Paul, as he was just doing the best he knew how. And considering how good the game looks, especially the actor models, I found myself asking why it was a TV show in the first place. I mentioned before how I found it to be a bad piece of television. I didn't care about any of the characters. I didn't care about the flat romances or the allegiance switching. I didn't find one character likable in more than a one-dimensional way. It seems that Remedy took what they tried in Alan Wake with the game's story being cut into episodic chapters of a TV show, and went a lot further down that path. I find it funny that in my critique of Alan Wake, I think the game takes itself too seriously compared to Max Payne, and now in Quantum Break, I think the game is taking itself too seriously compared to Alan Wake. I think what Quantum Break is trying to do is experiment with combining video games and television. I thought maybe I could classify this as a bit of a throwback to the mid-90s when many games used full motion video for their cutscenes and actor sprites for their gameplay. Not only do I feel that's not apt here because the spark of those games is missing in Quantum Break, but the cutscenes that use 3D models instead of actors look great, so there was no need to use actors to begin with. And it's not like the acting's bad either. I think it's a case of what works for one medium not working for another, and me not being engaged enough by the result. I didn't care about finding out what happens next, even though I did find the time powers and their visual effects kinda cool. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I hope you're having a wonderful day.